Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I am here today to talk about Jaws. And this might sound a little out of the blue, but I did recently watch all of the Jaws movies because they were on Netflix. They actually were expiring from Netflix, and I decided to do a push and watch them all because I like shark movies, I like horror movies, and so it's the summer. Why not watch all of the Jawses, all of the Jaws eye? Okay, so yeah, so let's get this party started. I'm gonna do individual videos for each of the different Jaws movies, and let's just get with this. Okay, so Jaws is from 1975. It was directed by Steven Spielberg, who directed E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark, AI, like so many movies, so many movies. It stars Roy Scheider. I never know if I'm pronouncing that right, and I don't know why. It's not a like highly unusual name. Anyway, Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss, and Lorraine Gray. The genre for this is, I don't know if you go with horror, drama, thriller, adventure, or just go with shark movie. Because, hey, it's a shark movie. That's what the genre I like to think of it as, a shark movie. And I gave this 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5, and it gets a heart because I love Jaws. This is one of the best movies out there, honestly. This is definitely not a first time watch for me. I have seen this many, many times. I have many different specific memories of seeing this. I remember watching it at home. I remember watching it a holiday weekend and making Jamie's favorite chicken. My sister Jamie has a favorite chicken, and I made that on one holiday weekend and had people over. And I don't know if we watched it. I think I watched it while I was cooking. I've watched it many times recently, and I watched it several times throughout July and August for some reason. I found it oddly comforting, which is kind of weird to say. And oh, I forgot to say, it is based on a novel. I'll put the information. I don't know if it's on the poster here. Based on the novel by Peter Benchley, which I have not read, but I think I did read the beginning of it. I think my dad had it, and I did like sneak in and pull it from the shelf and read a little bit of it when I was younger, but I haven't read the whole thing, and I do regret I saw it once at Bookends and I never picked it up, so I wish I had picked it up. I have a dust allergy, so and the book is written I think it was in the 70s. It would have to be 70s or before because this came out in 75. So yeah, but it's just like it's such a classic. It's such a classic. So yeah, if you're unfamiliar with Jaws, it's a shark movie. It is centered on the town or island of Amity, where Roy Scheider plays the police officer. He's not from there. His wife, I think, is from there, and so he's sort of like the city guy, or at least the outsider. He's not an islander. I believe it's an island, and people take a ferry to get there, so that's usually island. Yeah, then there starts to be shark attacks. This creates, or there is a body that comes up. Is it a shark attack? Is it not a shark attack? And then the town starts to have this challenge between like hunting for the shark, and then also, is it safe to swim? What do you think? What do you think? And of course, it's a summer tourist town, and the bureaucracy doesn't want to close the beaches because that is their summer money and their longevity, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I love this movie. Oh my gosh, I love this movie so much. And it's funny because for me, often the beginning, I remember seeing the beginning when I was a kid and being just so confused. So this is going to be a more spoilery video, because I am going to talk details about the plot and things that happen. So if you haven't seen Jaws, watch Jaws. It's a great movie. I think it is scary, and if you don't like sharks, maybe no, but everyone else should watch it because it's not only a good horror movie, it is a good movie overall. And this actually, watching it this time, made me think, are all truly great horror movies also good dramas, because this one really is a great drama. The buildup of the story, the tension and the complexity around the town folk and what they, what they want versus what the sheriff wants versus what is possible, and it's unknown. Like, that's the other thing. Like, it's Jaws is such a part of culture. We know the story. We know it's a giant shark. We know it's a lot bloody. We know, it's goes horribly wrong. But, when you see it from the mindset of, like, if you close the beaches, all of a sudden, like, nobody's going to be able to make it through the winter, that is scary, like, in a different kind of way. But of course, that's, they can't do that. Therefore, there's more mayhem. Therefore. And it's funny because on this rewatch, I realized for me, most of my memories of the movie are when they're on the boat. Like, when Roy Scheider and Richard Dreyfuss and Robert Shaw are on the boat, the three of them. And I think about how that's such a great trio of people, because Robert Shaw is this salty, expert, veteran, like, he knows what he's doing, and he's been out there a lot, and he has very strong opinions. And then you have Richard Dreyfuss's character, who's sort of like the young buck, or the the learned folk. He went to school and got all smart and has this tech, and although the tech and those kinds of things are different, this is not an unknown dynamic through the ages, right? Like, you have the person who's been doing it their whole life, and the person who is, like, sort of more like working from an intellectual basis, doing the new stuff. And then we have sort of the novice or the outsider in Roy Scheider's character. He's the sheriff. He's, entrusted to protect the town, but he doesn't know anything about sharks. He doesn't even like boats, really. He's not even an islander, right? But he is very invested in, this situation coming to a close. And I thought, wow, that's a really good set of characters to play off each other. There's lots of banter and no love lost between Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss's character. I'm blanking on everyone's character name except for Brody, who's Roy Scheider's character. But yeah, I can't. Oh, it's Quinn. I think it's Quinn as Robert Shaw, and I can't remember Richard Dreyfuss's name. So all of the time that they spend on the boat, that's all my favorite. Like, it's a great build up, and, like, the beginning was scary. I remember seeing, I thought that I didn't finish. I remember seeing this when I was a kid and not even understanding, like, when they show the body or the pieces of the body that wash up, I didn't even understand what that was. I had to say, like, what is that? And then someone told me, and I was like, ah! And then I didn't want to watch it, like, that part of the movie again. But, like, when I think of, like, the drama and the setup and the family and the dynamics between everyone and the arguments and all that stuff, it's really, really well done. But for me, I love all the stuff with the shark, like, and the expertise. That's one of the things I like about Richard Dreyfuss's character, is he has expertise. He wants to find out. He is the expert that nobody listens to, right? Because that always happens in any kind of disaster movie. He talks about the bite radius and how it doesn't match, and nobody cares, but he wants to cut open the shark, and are they going to do that? And the gruesomeness of that. I remember the gruesomeness of that. Oh, still gruesome, But, and then finally, it's clear there is a shark out there. There is a problem. We need to take care of it. Off they go on the adventure onto the boat. So yeah, this is one movie where, like, I don't have any issues with anything. I love it. The pacing, the soundtrack, the notorious Jaws soundtrack, and the relationships and how the story is told, and the tension and the moments, and, like, just the build up, and, like, everything, the editing, like, everything about it is excellent. And my favorite part, which is probably a favorite part for many people, is the scene in the boat with the three of them, and Robert Shaw tells the story of the Indianapolis. That is one of my favorite film moments ever, because the pace changes, the tone changes, and he just pulls you in to tell this story. Like, it goes from a very sort of joyful, gregarious moment to a very solemn, scary, truth-filled moment of survival, and it gets me every time. Even thinking about it, I'm just getting like, whoa! It gets me every time, and I just cherish it. It's one of my favorite film scenes of all time. Of all time. So I loved it. So I love that. I loved rewatching it. I don't even know how many times I've seen this movie. You know, I probably watch it at least every other summer. I don't own it, which is really weird. Well, I did own it on VHS. So I did own it on VHS. So yeah, so this one is really good. It is scary too. Like, even that's one of the things I think about with horror movies. Like, are they scary? Because I don't feel like they all have to be, but this one still gets me. The tension with the sharks, the jump out moments, how they seem like they're in such a small boat, the you know, even on a grander scale in terms of the impact on the town. That's not something I thought about like as a kid, but now, like, you know, being an adult, when you think about that, like that challenge, you know, are you going to choose being like what seems overly safe to at a detriment to everyone else? Is that worth it? So it is a horror movie, so they should have chose that, but then, you know, then it would be a shorter movie with less horror. So yeah, this one was a stellar watch. Let me know, have you watched Jaws recently? Do you rewatch it as often as I do? I think it's really one that I don't know. I haven't done a top movies for a long, long time. I think the last time I tried it was around 2010. I imagine this is somewhere in top 25 of like 200 top movies, not 200. I've seen lots of movies, but I think this would be somewhere in my top 25 movies of all time, and it was a joy to rewatch. So you will have to wait and see how I felt about the remainder of the Jaws series. Definitely had some surprises. I did not remember them as well as I had thought, but this one I know well. This one I feel like it's a movie I could, if it was on TV, I would jump in and watch it from any point. It has really great moments throughout the entire thing, and I just loved it. I loved it. The acting was good, the story is good, the pacing is good, it's scary, drama, just awesome. Jaws was awesome, so I'm really happy that I rewatched it. We'll see how the rest of the series goes. Thank you so much for watching.